Good evening, members who are listening. So, welcome to the next edition of the Risk Management Podcast series on behalf of the Malaysian Bar. As many of you would be aware by now, that the Risk Management Committee of the Bar Council has started a podcast which emphasizes on various aspects of risk management. We have done the first episode earlier on, which was in respect of the client's account management, which identify what are the issues in respect of client's management, what are the steps to follow when you maintain a client's account, and so on. So today's series is actually the second in that series of risk management podcasts. And before I proceed further, perhaps it's opportune that I introduce myself. My name is Jayabalan, and I am the Deputy Chairperson of the Risk Management Committee of the Bar Council. So we have today with us Mr. Fadhil Ihsan. Hello Fadhil, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the RM podcast. So Fadhil is a member of the Elevate Committee. Elevate is the official risk management policy of the Malaysian Bar, right, which was launched about 2 years ago. And one of the purpose of Elevate is to come up with a set of tools and protocols, checklists and so on that will guide members in carrying out their legal responsibilities. The tools under Elevates covers both legal practice in respect of various disciplines of law and also in respect of office management. In fact, today we are going to speak on an important topic in respect of office management, which is basically cybersecurity, on the importance of cybersecurity and why we need to have a set of checklists in respect and how should we manage our cybersecurity protocols in our respective law firms. So Fadhil is here today. Fadhil, as I said, Fadhil is a committee member of Elevate. Welcome, Fadhil.
Good, thank you.
So, are you ready with the podcast, with our second podcast?
Well, there's the first time for everything.
Right. I hope you have watched the first podcast. I watched it as a set of to get us ready for the second podcast. So I suppose both of us, it's quite a new experience for both of us as well. So, Fadhil, tell us, give us the sort of background, your background in respect of cybersecurity and IT related issues at the Bar Council.
Well, I sit as co-chair of the AI and Sandbox and Legal Tech Committee. I myself am not tech expert. However, my strong interest in technology seems to intersect with legal practice. So as part of that initiative, and now I must caution that whatever I talk about today is based on practical experience and whatever the internet teaches me or have taught me. And from that, did some research and we developed this checklist, which is the topic of today's podcast.
Yeah, I think that's right. Perhaps for the benefit of those who are listening, both of us would like to issue a reminder to say that what we are trying to promote or what we are trying to bring down to members in respect of under the Elevate protocols are a series of what we'd like to call it as best practices. This may not be the number one, or not necessarily the best. Every law firm would have their own experience, their own set of practices which they feel is the best. But what we hope to give is what we feel is the best practices and something to set as a minimum standard for law firms which otherwise may not have a guideline as to how to deal with these sort of issues. Cybersecurity is one of it. And of course, in respect of that, we also have other protocols as well. For the benefit of members as well, some of the list of protocols that we have are in respect of conveyancing matters, bankruptcy matters, will preparation, civil procedure, contested issues, uncontested issues, non-contested matters. So we have a whole list of protocols and checklists which we have developed and we have deposited it under a set of QR codes. All that we require members is you just have to go look out for the QR code, which I think will be published later. And you just have to scan the QR code, and you can actually download all that protocols from there. One of it will actually be the security, the cybersecurity checklist. Okay, Fadhil, I'm not much of an IT person. I think you know that very well. And I also cautioned you before we started the podcast. Now tell us, why is it important for law firms to have a protocol in respect of cybersecurity?
Well,
I must caution you, a
yeah.
lot of our lawyers are not IT savvy.
Yes,
You
yes.
seem to be like a very IT savvy person.
yes.
So you must put it in a way that every lawyer can understand. Yes.
So the rationale is twofold. Yeah, the threat of cyber attacks is rising. Yeah, it's getting easier. Yeah, things like social engineering, cyber threats or threats of cyber attacks are now even automated. Yeah, with the advent of AI and all that. So it is our professional duty to maintain client information. See, law firms, even big ones or small ones, have become quite attractive target for cyber criminals because we hold sensitive client data. And when we think about it, lawyers deal with everything from personal identification through confidential documents, from financial information. In the wrong hands, this is very, very valuable, and hackers know this. Every few months we see a data leak, and some of those data leaks sometimes come from law firms, big or small. So it's not the scale or the clientele that you have, it's just the nature of the data itself. So that's why this is quite important to have a checklist like this.
See, one of the concern, Fadhil, if I may say, that many of the lawyers, especially those who are running a small firm practice, they say that, look, I'm just running, I only do accident cases, I only do prepare sale and purchase agreement, I need not worry about cybersecurity and so on. And maybe it's of no concern to our firm, only the bigger firm should be concerned about it. What do you say to that?
I say that, it doesn't matter, even small firms often think that way. Yeah. Small firms often think that way, and they say, why would hackers target me? But if you run a conveyancing practice, you must have received some confidential information by email. Your client may have sent you, some banking documents, LHDN documents or ICs, and those are things that we are obligated to keep safe. So we lock our doors, why don't we lock our data as well?
So I suppose the easiest way to understand would be, as long as you have an email, there is a risk, there is a cybersecurity issues involved. And even for those accident firms that do running down matters, your concern would be you receive medical records, you receive medical reports.
Correct.
Those are information that is private to the client. So those data ought to be protected.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
There may be banking details that may be sent. So it need not necessarily be a concern only for the big firms or the medium-sized firms, even small firms. Right?
That is correct.
So as long as you have an email, there is an inflow and outflow of data.
Yes.
Therefore, you got to manage it.
Yes.
Right?
And even internally, if I may add, in the internal process of the firm as well, between your staff, you are exchanging drafts, exchanging documents. When you do a scanning on your machine, a copy is kept on the machine or a local machine and things like that. So it is, like I said, a gold mine. A small firm, over a long enough period of time can accumulate a lot of confidential information, and in the wrong hands, it's problematic.
So small firms cannot think that I'm just a small firm, who would want to target me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, right. So where do you see our professional obligations comes into it when it comes to managing IT security?
Well, as far as the law is concerned, our duty of confidentiality extends to digital data under the LPA. Of course, the PDPA, we have some AMLA requirements. Yeah, but there is no statutory provision saying that you must have a firewall or you must have passwords that have letters and symbols on it. Yeah, so we know the law. Yeah, we can understand the law, but things like this checklist are more of a practical approach. So the professional obligation is checking whether we comply with certain standards of protection in our offices.
Right, because I think this would also come under the duty to protect client confidentiality. So there are data which is of importance to the client, or any data that is in respect of the client, then we have a duty to protect.
Correct.
Right,
And you must implement reasonable security measures.
correct,
Yeah.
in order to protect that confidentiality.
Correct.
So cybersecurity protocols would actually come under that.
That's correct.
Right. So hence, I think it's important for, I suppose it's important for our lawyers to remember that just because we may not be handling sensitive matters or high profile litigations, it doesn't mean that we don't have to worry about data protection.
That's correct.
Right? Anything to do with the file, whatever that carry, the physical file that we carry, that is data.
That is
Right?
correct.
So that ought to be protected.
Yes.
Right? And because it flows through the digital means, therefore the digital protection and security ought to be implemented.
And also, on the off chance that one of your clients becomes someone prominent in the future,
Yeah, you never
so
know, right?
you never know, you know.
Never know. Yeah, that's right. So I like that you mentioned earlier, we lock our office doors. Why not lock our data too? Right?
That's correct.
I think that basically encapsulates that whole discussion about cybersecurity. All right. Could you explain a bit on that?
Well, the thing is that there is no single rule that says that you have to have this X set of safeguards, on your computers, on your emails. That is largely left for us to, as organization or as law firms, to figure out. And of course, we're busy enough as it is. It is envisaged that when we have this checklist, all right, we go in a simple manner. We want to help lawyers provide clear, practical guidelines.
That's right.
So we want to maintain a healthy practice. So if so, one day you look at the checklist and you sit with your staff and you say, all right, let's find out what our firm email is. All right, is it within the parameters of a standard guideline so that someone can? Is it password 123? Which is the most commonly used password.
Sometimes
before.
they say password is password.
Yeah, password is password.
Password
yes,
is
yes.
password, yes.
A very common password is
Yes,
password.
Yes.
And a very common password for law firm is lawyer.
Yeah.
And then when they ask you to add a number, you make lawyer 1.
Yeah.
And when they ask you to make a special character, you add a exclamation mark at the
Okay.
end. All right. So the technology has evolved where they can attempt thousands of passwords at once. And that's an example of email, because I'm going to use email because it's very commonly used. All right. And coming back to the analogy, when we lock our data, also part of the checklist encourages us to ask our staff.
Yeah.
Right? When you train them, when you receive an email, there's a link. Oh, it looks like it's from LHDN. How are you going to verify it? Look for where it's from. For me, I have a hard, fast rule. Don't click any links in any email.
I
Right?
see.
Okay, unless it's a file sharing like Dropbox or Google Drive or something.
Because sorry, just to hold on, pause there for a while. I think law firms nowadays, we receive a lot of emails. We receive from government departments. My office receives a lot of emails from LHDN, right, saying, no, you need to update your data, or no, there is a payment due, and so on. And it looks very legit. It looks very legit, the ID, the way it's written, and so on. So they may not necessarily be genuine. That's what they're saying.
That's correct.
And the practice in your office is, if there is a link there, don't click it.
If in doubt, ask me. All right. But even I also have fallen to a fake link. But those links usually carry you to somewhere where you can download something, if it's not a Word document and things like that. It's not the end if you do click a link. Yeah. If you have antivirus installed on the computer, it will be captured by that. So there are multiple levels of safety. Yeah, you can. Your staff will probably be pressured to do the work that they were paid to do, and probably click the link. It probably looked like it came from you. So simple training, look where it's from, look at the source, whether the topic is genuine, and things like that. So one mistake can actually take down your network,
Correct, yes,
for
of course.
a while. Yeah.
I'm going to go into the protocol, the Elevate protocol on cybersecurity.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just want to highlight one point, because just now we were talking about the duty of protecting the data also falls under the duty of confidentiality that every lawyer owes to their client. I think let's not forget the PDPA, Personal Data Protection Act, also imposes legal obligation on law firms to protect data as users, as data users. Now, other than that, we also have the AMLA compliances law, which also obligates protection and exercise of due diligence when it comes to management of records,
Yes.
transactions records and so on. So really for law firms, we cannot look at cybersecurity as something which is totally IT related as such. All right, it is becoming part of it is becoming an integral part of legal practice, and an integral part of solicitors' duty to clients nowadays.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Those days we used to say that you must keep the file safely, you must protect the file. So I suppose now the word file will refer to the digital file.
That's correct.
Hence the data. Okay. Now, Dale, you played an important role in developing the cybersecurity protocol for Elevate as part of the risk management policy, and we have actually has actually launched the protocol as part of our resources under the Elevate QR. I think we will display that as well. Can you tell us, firstly, what does the protocol entail, the cybersecurity protocol that you developed? What are the key points under that before we go into the details? Fadhil.
All right, sure. The checklist contains 10 categories, which covers software, policies, training, and also emergency protocols. If we look at the checklist, it's designed for the ease of use. You are to tick yes or no, and then with the space
before that,
yes.
I need to know this. Do I need to be very IT savvy in order to understand the protocol?
I would imagine we drafted in a way that it applies to beginners as well.
Okay, I'm happy to know that, because as lawyers, if we feel it is too IT savvy and so on, we may not be interested to look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
So the way it is designed for use is when an item there's a yes and no column. If you've complied with it, you tick yes and no, and then there's a space for action items. I mean, you either need to contact someone or you need to take action on it. And it is recommended you review this checklist twice a year or after there's a major incident. And then we look at it as a routine audit. So the aim is to get as many yeses as possible, because then you would say that you've covered as many bases as you can towards protecting your cybersecurity. So those are the 10 key areas that the checklist covers.
So I suppose the idea would be to develop a safety net for firms that otherwise may not have a policy in place.
Correct.
Right? A minimum standard, a safety net, so to speak. But Fadhil have actually mentioned that it is something that is easy to understand. You don't have to be tech savvy in order to understand the checklist. Thank you for that, because otherwise I might have a problem looking at it as well. Okay. Now, let's go back to the practical part of it, because I feel the Bar Council over the years, and even the Risk Management Committee and before the PI Committee, has been issuing many alerts, many circulars in respect of data protection, cybersecurity, and so on. But I feel that the level of exposure amongst the law firms is still wanting. It's not at the level that we would like it to be. Why do you think that's the reason? Why do you feel that law firms have not really taken on enough interest, or they have not realized the importance of the cybersecurity protection?
I will probably answer that on two levels. I think there's a generational gap.
Correct. I think that's actually the most obvious thing, the generational gap, right?
Correct. We take comfort in having our physical files. We hold on to it. We have fire insurance. We lock our doors and things like that. But at the same time, we've forgotten that in the last maybe 5-7 years, everything has gone digital. That means whatever we have physically, we have whatever's in the files also somewhere lurking in some cloud storage or your email of your staff. So when I say about more senior lawyers, they forget that whatever they have in front of them exists in an electronic form. Therefore, they don't give priority to that one. All right, that's number one. And number two, we forget how easy it is for hackers to come in nowadays. We forget that even our phones can be hacked and that things leak. So in the rising ease of getting this information also is making the threat more real.
No. So in that sense, because the threat is very real, and you also said that look, every law firm must be cautious about that particular risk, and I also feel that we lawyers, we can no longer say that these IT things, I got nothing to do with IT things, I'm not into it, or, I'm in the twilight years of my practice, therefore I don't have to worry about IT protection of my law firm and all that. I think as long as you're using a smartphone, that means you're already holding a device in your hand. You are supposed to be IT savvy at some extent.
Yes.
All right, it's just of a matter of taking the next step and realizing the importance of data protection. Okay, Fadhil. Now let's look at the practical part of it. What are the absolute minimum must-have for a law firm when it comes to data protection?
All right, from the checklist, if we must compress it to maybe 4 or 5 main categories, I would say the first one is have a properly licensed and updated software that ensures all the loopholes, all the bugs are addressed. Yeah.
So software means in terms of which software?
Okay, so if you have a Windows installation, make sure
Okay.
it's updated. If you're using Microsoft
Office
Word-
management software as you're referring to.
No, the operating system.
Operating system.
The
okay.
operating system.
Yeah.
So your Microsoft Office,
Uh-huh.
make sure it's updated. Avoid using pirated software. The second would be having strong passwords. Right? Sit down with everyone and have the password policy. One capital letter, one lowercase letter, one number, one symbol. Right?
Or the minimum, at least the
minimum,
requirements
yeah.
of the password. Yeah.
Because if you go online, there are websites out there where if you type in a certain password, it will show you the amount of time it takes for today's technology to crack it. And
I
if you put in
see.
a 12-letter alphanumeric password, it only takes them 6 minutes to decrypt it.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
they will attempt every single... This is what I was talking about when the technology is more advanced. So they will attempt every letter and every symbol.
Yeah.
So the more variation, the more time it takes. So if you follow that formula, it takes them about 12 years to decrypt it if you follow
I
that
see,
that
I
alphanumeric. So that's a strong password policy.
So you must have a licensed and updated software, and then you must have a strong password.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
to begin with.
And
Okay.
since most of the services we subscribe to are online, the password is even more important. You will see that certain websites provide something called 2FA, two-factor authentication.
That's right.
Right? It's what we use for our online banking.
That's right.
That's a good practice as well. So if any or some other reason that your password has been leaked, at least a notification comes on your phone or your device, someone is attempting to access it. So that's a good thing to have.
I see.
Yeah. Other than that, I think locally in the computers, install antivirus software and turn on the auto updates and updates those, we call it virus definitions. New viruses come every day.
Oh, I always thought the safe advice is don't turn on auto updates.
Oh, no.
Or it's the other way around.
The advice to not turn on auto update is because those software may be pirated and those
Okay.
updates disabled.
I see.
So auto update is quite important because developers of software would push an update whenever there is certain deficiencies which allow
right.
hackers to come in.
The
And
patches, they call it.
They're patches,
Yeah.
that's correct. That's the exact term.
Yeah.
So other than that, when you look at those two categories which I've alluded to earlier, we need to train the staff on what phishing is. Well, we call it phishing with a PH, where those links are malicious links and malicious software. If an icon doesn't look like a document, it looks like a program, don't run it, and things like that.
But that's really a problem, isn't it? We may realize, as firm owners and firm managers, we may realize the importance of data protection, of implementing those steps, but then at the ground level, the people who are actually running it will be our staff.
That's correct.
Alright? As lawyers, we are busy looking at files, doing research, doing cases, but at the very ground level, at the gate level, it's our staff who's managing it,
Correct.
and they need to be trained.
That's correct.
All right. I think that's where the problem lies, because a lot of our staff, they know you have the licensed software, they know that you have the best software or original software, but if your staff do not know how to use it, it's basically rendered
Correct.
useless.
So that's where the antivirus comes in. Yeah, when they fail, or if they fail, or if they accidentally link, then it pops up.
Yeah.
You know, so once in a while, my stuff will come out, and there's a display, or you've clicked on something malicious. You know, and then what the antivirus has done is put that file in quarantine, meaning it's been affected
I
and
see.
things like that. So that's the safeguard when they make those mistakes. Of course, we will make it too. I've done it as well. Yeah. So.
And this training the staff, it cannot be just a one-off training, right? It has to be an ongoing daily thing.
That's true.
That's true.
That's why we say once every 6 months, reinforce with them.
Yeah,
Or whenever there's
that's
something that
right.
happens,
Yeah.
whenever an infection comes in, okay, let's sit down, everyone. It can be the 3 of you, it can be the 4 of you, and say, okay, do we know why this happened? Or when there is something, you receive something malicious, call them in the room. Look at this email. This is the type of email you don't link, you don't click. Yeah, so I always do that. Sometimes when I bring up my laptop and I'll just show you, okay, what's wrong with this email? And they'll know, okay, this did not come from our client. The sender looks fake. It looks very suspicious, right? So
So your staff must be able to identify that.
At one point of time, it'll become sort of like a muscle memory.
Yeah,
They'll know who the
yeah,
clients are.
yeah,
They know the
that's right,
type. Yeah.
that's right.
And plus, on the other hand as well, I discourage the use of email clients. That means email client means software we download to manage our email. Use it off the web. If you have a Gmail account, usually Gmail would filter anything malicious outright.
right.
They wouldn't even download it,
Yeah.
so the link wouldn't be available. But it does fall in the cracks, especially when your client's computers have been affected.
I see.
So the last item, since you asked about the must-have, is that to have a regular backup and to have a disaster recovery plan when something does happen. I will tell you, when we became victim of a cybersecurity threat, we shut down the computer, we had it formatted, and then we just started anew. Because everything is online, you just start over. And that's our disaster recovery plan. You may have someone, an IT guy, that can come over and have a look.
I see.
Yeah.
So when it comes backup data regularly, I would like to ask further clarification on 2 items. What is the safest way to do it? All right, number one. How often should that be done?
Well, for my personal practice, I use cloud storage.
Use cloud storage.
All
Okay.
right? But to talk about cloud storage, there's another podcast altogether.
Yeah, I know that.
I give a lot of talks on cloud storage.
Yeah.
But the logic behind it is that we already submit our data to Google, for example, for Gmail. Now using Gmail's cloud service is just an extension of that.
That's
So
right.
we have that trust with them.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a whole nother debate on it. So
In fact, many law firms are already lodging their data with clouds without them knowing it.
Correct,
With third
correct,
parties, right? Yeah.
And even if you were to get a private cloud service,
Yeah.
it's also in a server in someone else's office,
That's right.
in some other part of the
That's
world.
right.
So that's the reality we live with. So how often we back up? Mine is back up by the second. When we work on something, if there's a blackout, it's already saved. Some firms have backups at their office. Yeah, they're devices that you can buy, you network them, and it's backed up. I have one of those which does it once a week, right? In case the whole internet fails, I have a backup of my data,
I see.
right? So those are the different practices depending on how your whether you're risk averse or not. Yeah, big law firms usually have servers that are kept inside the office and stored there.
I see. I just want to touch on that. Not many law firms have their own servers,
Yes.
right? Of course, at one time, there are very few firms that had servers, their own server, but it is, of course, an increasing practice among law firms. What is the advantage of having each law firm to have their own servers, number one? Number two, say in the context of a small firm, is it expensive to have your own server? Because I know there are many small firms which actually do not have or have not even thought about having their own server. So what is your idea? Should every firm have their own servers? Number one. And number two, what are the cost implications? Is it something that is prohibitive?
I will say this: when we speak of servers, it sounds very, it's not a technological.
It sounds very
marvel.
complicated.
It's very complicated.
Yeah.
It's just a computer.
Okay.
All right, and it can be an expensive computer or a cheap computer. The server I have in my office is a 13-year-old machine, which I set up and I put in the corner of the room, and it's been running ever since. Yeah, probably added a hard disk drive and things like that. Okay.
So all your data is actually kept there.
Yes.
It's not with a third party at the cloud or something.
Well,
Or
I have
you
a
also
secondary one. Now,
you
in
also
the
have
event
that.
that you want to go down that road, yeah, a server can be one of the computers used by one of your staff. It can serve as a server. That means you're going to say that this computer is going to store all my documents.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to share a folder from there. I'm going to put it all there. So that can be a server. As long as it can be accessed by you through another computer at the office, then it forms its function as a server. Yeah, so in terms of cost, it depends. You can get a cheap one for 300 ringgit, 700 ringgit.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, it all depends on performance. The expensive ones have more RAM and have, can be accessed by 50 people at once. But if you're in a small firm, a small computer, a laptop can be a server. The one that you don't use, you have not used for a long time, can be a server at the office. Yeah.
It just stores your data. That's it.
Stores your data.
Stores your data.
Yeah. It does what the cloud sharing does, but locally.
Locally. So for those firms that have, like you mentioned that I've been to your office, I know you have the server at that corner of your office. What about the security risks involved? Because there are some say that you have a server in the office, the computer must always be on. You're talking about the safety, especially during a long weekend, right? And then you're keeping your server running on. Is that a threat? For example, there could be a potential fire, potential electricity short circuit, and so on. What do you say to that?
Yes.
There is such a risk.
There is such a risk.
But,
I mean, the worst case is someone goes in, takes the server, and runs away with it.
Exactly.
That's the
actual theft itself.
actual theft itself.
Actual data theft.
That's not a cybersecurity issue,
Yeah.
right? That's a theft issue.
Yeah.
But anything or any computer that's connected to the internet is, open market for any hacker.
That's right.
So your server, if it's connected to the internet, it's available to be broken into. That's why we have secondary storage. You have a server at the office. You have a local copy. If you're paranoid, put it in a CD and keep it in a folder.
That's right.
And the last one, have a cloud storage.
Cloud storage.
Cloud storage, yeah. So that's what part of the small firms committee, we gave a talk on cloud storage, and many lawyers came back and said, hey, this thing is available and it's free, things like that, yeah.
Okay, let's move on this. We have spoken about the risks. What is cyber threat? We have spoken about what are the potential risks of cyber threat. Are you aware any actual cases that has happened to Malaysian law firms where data security has taken place?
So
data security breach?
About 6 months ago, there was a hijack on a particular LHDN officer's email account. Yeah, I think for lack of a good password. And then that particular hacker used to send legitimate emails with phishing links, links with malware to hundreds and thousands of people at once. And because it came from a source which was trusted, it managed to pass all the filters, provided by Gmail and all that, and people were hit by malware attacks. So some of them were for the purpose of data mining. That means they just sat in the computer and wait for something confidential. Some were used to mine Bitcoin. Yeah. So they use your computer's idle time to mine Bitcoin, and then among other things. So that was when these things usually go unreported because they are small isolated events. Yeah. So that was in respect of the LHDN email. Of course, cases of impersonation, email interception usually does happen as well. It can be your counterparty that's compromised, and you're just in the middle of a chat, a tranche of emails, and one coming from them. Oh, by the way, can you send me this again? And you realize, hey, we've already sent you this. Why are you asking for it again?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's when you need to pick up the phone and say, hey, is this you? It doesn't sound like your normal tone, things like that. And in terms of practicality, we can look at examples like the Panama Papers. That big leak came from a law firm.
Correct.
Right? So those are the examples.
I suspect there must have been such instances even in our country, but it's not good for business, for firms to come and say this has happened to us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's particularly maybe one of the reason why, if you look at our professional indemnity policy, even from as far back as maybe about 8 or 9 years ago, the Bar Council was already promoting firms to buy policy for cybersecurity breach, right? There have been rumors of some of the firms, including law firms, who have been hit by cyber attack, right? But of course, no one has come forward to say. I suppose it's also not good for the reputation
That's
and
correct.
standing of the firm
That's
to
correct.
come and say that they have been a victim of cyber attack, because that might affect the confidence of the clients to have them to come in. But I think the threat is real.
Yes.
Right? I think we have seen this happening very often. So law firms shouldn't take the position that nobody would want to steal our data.
That's correct.
Right? It's how there is a joke. Whenever we hear a law firm has been robbed, right, we always laugh between us and say, who would want to steal or rob a law firm? Because law firms don't keep money.
Yes.
All right, law firms only keep files, papers,
Correct,
you know.
correct.
All right. So, but now you know that. Look, we also have this data, this data as an asset. So that is important.
And
Okay.
also, in addition to that, if you notice, companies or firms that have been hit by ransomware, when the data is held hostage,
Yeah.
insurance and companies pay it.
That's
Why?
right.
Because the threat is real.
Yeah.
I lose so much more
Yeah.
by not having this data. And, of course, someone would have to broker it. So it becomes a lucrative business already for hackers. So that's why it's
Correct.
yeah.
That's why I think there's this word called ransomware, or something, right? That's what it means. Essentially, they hold
Correct.
you to ransom,
Correct.
all right, by holding to your data.
Yes.
All right. Now, Dale, again, in the context of a small firm, why I keep coming back to that is because I think the big firms, by virtue of the nature of clients that they have naturally moved towards taking on actions to protect their data and all that, because their clients expect that. The big MNCs, the big corporations, they expect their data to be protected. They would also inquire whether these firms actually have those policies in place. Now, a small firm, even a sole prop firm, may not have that, right? A sole prop firm normally act for walk-in clients, individual clients, layman clients who may not be aware of such issues. So in their context, let's say if I am a solo lawyer, a sole prop, I do not have any IT background, what are the 3 most important things that I can do in order to improve the cybersecurity level at my firm? The 3 things which you feel you would advise that you must have.
I would say if you're a small firm relying on the provisions of providers of free email, free cloud storage, overheads are low, the best protection costs nothing.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is have a strong password, keep everything updated, all right, and then use common sense. Common sense means to equip yourself with the knowledge and to train your staff. on
Common
what it
sense,
is.
I used to say that common sense is easy to point at but difficult to find,
Yes,
isn't it?
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So you have to use it.
Yes. In fact, the best way to find out whether something is not right, especially in the context of an email, is to see where it originated from. All right.
Right.
If the person has no business sending you an email, then it's like a spam mail, it's unsolicited mail. But I think the protection has evolved. Free providers have evolved in terms of their security because they have higher standards to fulfill.
Correct.
And I'm talking about Microsoft.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Google. All right. And big companies use them as well. So we can piggyback on that high standard of protection for us to protect us.
I see.
Yes.
So this business of having password 010000
Yeah.
or people's birthday, children's birthday as
Correct.
password,
Correct.
all that doesn't work. That can easily be broken in.
Yes, someone with enough information can figure it out. A computer over a long enough period of time can figure out your password unless you keep within the best practices. Yes.
So in terms of so you mentioned about the first three things that you can do is auto updates. What about backing up of data? password, you have mentioned password managers as well.
Yes.
What about how often you should back up your data?
Backing up of data, I would say if the document appears in your email, it would probably be sufficiently stored there, you know, especially if you exchange some drafts between your client or your staff. But how often? I would say set a checkpoint of maybe every 6 months to hold some. Let's say the data does not change anymore; it's solid. You want to keep it as it is. You know, do an overhaul. If you want to keep a physical copy, go ahead and put it in the cloud storage. There's no really set amount of time. It's more about the quantity of data that's involved.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I don't do any physical backups. I rely on my cloud storage, which is all right.
So in other words, you do not have hard copies.
I do not have hard copies.
Hard copies.
Yes.
Which means you'll save a lot of space in your office as well.
Yes. Yes.
That's very important. Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah. Okay. Now, again, I think you have touched on the technical part of it, the implementation part of it, but all this will not work unless our lawyers change our mindset.
Yes.
All right, we have to change our mindset, and I think changing mindset shouldn't really be a big problem, because history has shown that, look, 10, 15 years ago, when we were only used to filing at the counter, when the government implemented this e-filing system and so on, there was strong resistance. But after a while, we realized the benefits of it. Then the mindset changed.
Correct.
Now we live with it. No? We are so thankful for having this e-filing and so on. So similarly, the increasing the level of awareness of cybersecurity, we do have a problem. In the sense that I think there are many law firms. In fact, I would say the majority of the law firms are not looking at it seriously yet, because they feel that this will not happen to me. And the kind of client, no, I'm just a small law firm, a medium-sized law firm, who would want to steal my data? Now, what would you suggest, in what way we can help to change the mindset of the law firms from this thinking of, no, it's not going to happen to me, to saying that, hey, this is important.
Correct.
Yeah.
It starts from the fact that every time we read about a data breach, it's always some big multinational corporation or
That's
some
right.
big
Yes,
firm and
yes.
things like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I'm the small guy.
Yeah.
No one wants to target me. I think we can start from the backwards approach. Yeah, there are complaints, there are police reports. You know, what the bar can do is we can start to collate these small incidents. All right, and we can have some form of sharing.
That's right.
By these small firms and say, look, I've been a victim of this and this has impacted me. You know, we can do videos on it. So to share to members, look, it can happen to you. Yeah. I'm sure there have been payouts of insurance. I'm sure our tech consultant companies have had to come in and help small firms rectify the security breaches. So we can engage with them to impart this knowledge onto our members. Yeah, because we need to normalize this discussion about cyber risk.
Yeah.
And we need to say that it's a real threat. I'm sure somewhere out there someone has the numbers. So it's either with the IT providers, it's either with the insurers or with the bar itself.
Right.
We need to collate that and then disseminate this information to our members.
That's right. So I think, as with every effort of the bar, changing the mindset is always an issue. But what we learn from the history is that we all do change, especially lawyers. And initially, there may be some resistance whenever there is a change to our fixed practices. All right, but I think lawyers being lawyers, we look at it initially, we are quite close to it, and then we evaluate, we see the pros and cons, we see the benefit, and then we are prepared to adapt to it. So as if nothing else, history have shown that we ultimately do pick up things, right? And I think I always give e-filing as an example of how lawyers have initially, we had such a strong objection to it, but now we swear by it, right?
Yes.
So similarly for law firms, we need to come out from this mindset of saying that this got nothing to do with me, this won't happen to me, or I'm just a small timer in one small town of the country, so I don't have to worry about it. Like, it can happen to anyone.
Correct.
As long as you have an email you are a threat. I think basically that's what it comes to,
Correct.
isn't it?
Yes, that is one thing.
Yeah.
But we just need to ask ourselves one hypothetical question. Tomorrow, every computer in your office has been locked out
Yeah.
and every email account has been changed its password.
Yeah.
Can you move on with your life or move on with your office? If the
Correct.
answer is no,
Yeah.
then there's some importance to be had in assessing your SOP and your risk.
Right. Right. Okay. Now, I think that's interesting. I think what I hope is for those who at the beginning of the podcast may not have any idea about cybersecurity or thought that it must be a very complicated subject, having listened to this podcast thus far, at least they will know that it is not something that is so strange, so alien. It is something that is very close to our practice. It is something that is of important and it cannot neglect it. Right? Okay. Now, Dale, for those who are listening to this podcast, what is if they have to do one thing, right, in respect of the cybersecurity protection in their practice at their law firm, if they only have time to do one thing, what should it be?
Well, if it's one thing, I would say download the checklist and
Correct.
review it with
Yeah.
yourself and your partners and every member of the team.
Yeah.
And once you review it, delegate 2 or 3 items to look into and start immediately.
Correct.
Because every little bit helps.
That's right. So I think it's important, as what Fadhil has said, download the checklist. Now, of course, when you download the checklist, there are also other checklists in it. Watch out for the QR code. I think what we are trying to do is, under the Risk Management Committee and the Elevate Committee, we are trying to, I like to use the word normalize the QR code into every aspect of our practice. Whenever you see the Elevate QR code, download it. Because the moment you download it, you actually get access to this whole series of guidelines and protocols which will help you. I think this will be of importance, especially to the younger practitioners who are opening up on their own, the small firms, all right? It's a wealth of information that is available there.
That's correct.
Right? We have been going around the country through our talks and even through our online series and so on to tell members, look, check out the QR code, scan the QR code, download the resources. All that the firm have to do is, once you download the protocols and so on, just put your firm's letterhead at the top of it. It becomes yours. All right? If you're going to do cybersecurity, what are the things to do? What are the 10 things to do? It's all there.
That's correct.
Look at it, tick it. Look at it and tick it. So, and of course, we also have in respect of other practices and so on. Now, we are actually towards the end of our protocol, but of our podcast today. So maybe towards the end, for those who are watching, towards the end of this podcast, we will actually display the Elevate QR code, all right? Download it immediately, and then access it. Download the documents, access it, and then make it as part and parcel of your practice. Okay, Dale, any parting words for those members who are listening in respect of cybersecurity?
Well, I'd just like to say that cybersecurity is a little bit like insurance. Better to have it before the fire and not after. And I think while I do have this platform, if you have been a victim of cybersecurity breach, phishing or ransomware, I think if you can share your experiences with the Bar Council's Secretariat or Risk Management Department, it will be helpful towards collecting that information for us to inform other members as well.
I think that's important because it always helps when we hear from someone who has undergone a similar experience, right? Our experience when we dealt with AMLA issues and LHDN issues, we realized that when firms that are affected, proprietors who are affected, they come forward, and then when they share their experience, those who are listening will actually appreciate more the seriousness of the issue, all right? And then there'll be more urge to do something about it. So, Fadhil, we have come towards the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on board today.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's been an excellent sharing of information from you. And I said at the very beginning, you said that one of the problems is generation gap. And I said, because there's a generation gap, you must explain it in such a way that everybody understands.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you have put it in such a normal, easy to understand layman terms and not in the usual techie terms. All right, I was quite worried that we'll end up with many techie terms, but the problem will be if you bring up the techie terms, I wouldn't know what it means. All right, so
No problem.
having a layman term actually kind of helped me to navigate through this podcast as well. So thank you so much for coming over
You're
today.
welcome.
And for those viewers who are listening, thank you so much. Of course, the podcast will be available. You can download at any time. Don't forget the QR code. I will keep coming back to Elevate because I'm basically the salesman for Elevate. So I have to sell it as much as possible, only because it is very important. It affects all of us. So thank you for tuning in. Look out for our next episode on the RM podcast on behalf of the Malaysian Bar. Thank you very much. See you all. Bye.